What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. This video is a pre-match analysis of Manchester City versus Liverpool in their FA Cup matchup coming up this weekend. Now, before we get into the tactics behind each team and how each manager will try and change due to Champions League and injury complications during midweek, check out the OneFootball app. It's the app that's sponsoring today's video. It's the best app out there for all things football. I use it to stay up to date with the latest games, team news, and biggest clubs around the world. It helps me massively make these videos because of the information it gives. It gives the best information. It's completely free. There's a link in the description below, so be sure to check that out. It support the channel greatly, and it's a quality app I think everybody should have if they're interested in anything football. So again, that's me on your screen using the app. Check it out in the description, and while you're in the description, check out both my books as well. They're in there, but let's get right into the match analysis. So for the back four, it's going to be a little tricky for Manchester City. We have Ruben Dias back from injury, so I suspect if he's healthy 100%, he'll definitely start, and there's no risk associated to him starting. He'll definitely start. Cancelo will move to right fullback with then Laporte on the left and Nathan Ake as the left fullback. So because of Ake and Laporte's left foot, I suppose they'll start, and we could see Zinchenko start in this role if Laporte's still fatigued from the Atletico Madrid match, and Ake could slide in alongside Ruben Dias, but I think to give them more security in transitions, Ake will start over Zinchenko in this match alongside Laporte, Diaz, and Cancelo. Then Rodri, I see him starting still, even though having a tough match midweek against Atletico Madrid, because he's so crucial to the team. And then in the front three attacking midfielders, this is where we could see some changes. Gundogan, I suppose, will start, and he'll play a little bit deeper role to then try and control transitions as well. This is where I think Fernandinho might come into the team in this position for Gundogan, but he would play it slightly deeper, allowing Ake to then release into the wide area, and Grealish or Sterling, whoever plays on this left-hand side, will come into the half space, giving Manchester City more security over the central areas of the field with Gundogan or Fernandinho in this position. Then we have Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva in the attacking midfield positions alongside Gundogan because of the injuries to Kevin De Bruyne from the Atletico Madrid match. Then we have Mahrez on the right, Grealish on the left, and I think that Sterling may start as well because of the space in behind Liverpool's defensive line that could show promising opportunities for a player like Sterling, who's then very quick to run in behind. But for Liverpool, I don't think there'll be many changes from the first match. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, and Robertson, I suppose, will all start. Konate might start ahead of Matip, but I think Matip will start at the end of it. Then we have Henderson, Fabinho, and Thiago all starting in midfield. The only question mark would be Henderson if he's recovered from the Benfica match, and the front three, I don't suspect any changes. Mane, Jota, and Salah will all start in the front three. Now, Liverpool's high line was their key tactic for last match, giving Manchester City opportunity in behind. And as we saw, the most important tactic for City was a player like Bernardo Silva would drop deeper to form the double pivot alongside Rodri and create passing options into the center, avoiding the press of Diego Jota, who uses his cover shadow to block one of the holding midfielders. Then it would put a lot of emphasis on Thiago to go and jump, covering the half space with his cover shadow and blocking access between the lines. This is where a player like Phil Foden would drop into, attracting the run of Robertson, and now we'd have the wide area opened up for a mid-range diagonal pass from the central defender. Or if the center defenders are able to then progress the ball via dribbling, allowing Man City to keep their midfield diamond shape with three offensive midfielders and draw out the press of Thiago, creating space between the lines and forcing Robertson to stay narrow. This could be another avenue for Mahrez to invert, overloading the space between the lines, either creating direct access via the holding midfielder into a player like Bernardo Silva, but more commonly releasing Cancelo and again finding the mid-range diagonal pass using the wide area. Now, the one thing that is a concern for Manchester City is their tough match against Atletico Madrid and how fatigued the players that have played in that match will be for this match. And because of the intensity of Liverpool, it might be very challenging for Manchester City to play a little bit more direct like they did in the first leg, accessing the space in behind. Or an alternative route that we can see from Pep in the past is Cancelo inverting as a double pivot, narrowing Liverpool's press and allowing then Mahrez to be vacant on this right hand side. But I don't think he'll go with the inverted fullback because it would then put more bodies in the center of the field and could lead to a more dangerous transition. And because of pressing reference points of Liverpool, we want the City fullback to be wider to make it harder for Mane to use his cover shadow to go and press, and easier for Cancelo to then evade it and simply progress through the wide area. And in the first match between these two teams in the Premier League last weekend, we saw a very narrow and high offensive structure from Manchester City to try and pin the back four into the central three corridors to then allow for this wide area between Ake and Cancelo to be very vacant and for them to use the full width. But on the weak side, Ake will no doubt play a bit deeper role to then control transitions. So if Diaz has the ball here, we'll most likely see Ake slot in almost as a third central defender, simply to decrease the distances between center defenders. So if the ball is lost, especially in the middle of the field, then we have a 3-on-3 with the Liverpool players and Rodri blocking key areas and Cancelo quick to drop. So this would be a great way to control Liverpool's dangerous transitions and try and neutralize one of their most dangerous qualities. Now with Liverpool in possession, we'll probably see them go with their usual 4-3-3, as I don't think I've ever seen them go with anything else under Klopp, especially not this season. Then Fabinho will be the holding midfielder, Thiago and Henderson occupying space between the lines. And the movement of this Liverpool team from this position will be crucial, and I don't suspect any changes. But the biggest key for them is if they can get these Manchester City players to drop deeper in the wide areas, creating Manchester City's back five, they'll have an easier time pinning Manchester City back in their own half and having a high-paced, effective counter press. So from these Liverpool rotations, as we talked about, we'll definitely see Thiago come deeper in the half space, releasing Robertson and allowing Mane to invert. Usually Mane inverts higher up the field, pinning the back four and narrowing their shape. This then gives Robertson more space in the wide area, similar to the Man City movements with Cancelo as we talked about on this right hand side. But now with Thiago as the deep line playmaker, Mahrez will probably drop off, forcing Rodri and Gundogan to shift over, and now Man City will play with an auxiliary back five because Mahrez will have to drop and track the run of Robertson as they did sparingly in the past weekend where they played each other again. Now the press from Manchester City will definitely be with a front two players. Who it will be in these front two positions, we don't know, but Phil Foden will use his cover shadow, and they'll try and split access between Bernardo Silva, between Fabinho and Matip, so giving them positional superiority to try and force the ball into the wide areas. But then the big issue will be Thiago getting on the ball and now not losing compactness between the lines and not having Rodri forced to jump very far and stretching the game thin, because this is where a player like Diogo Jota come between the lines and really hurt Manchester City. So now we have one fullback advanced, and now the position of Trent Alexander-Arnold usually will come more narrowing, forcing Grealish to stay more centrally, and allowing Salah to either invert or Henderson to fan out, causing a positional interchange and freeing up Henderson in the wide area. But also we have the option of keeping Henderson higher up the field, narrowing the back four again, and now freeing up Salah in the wide area. And if City aren't effective in applying pressure to the ball and using positional superiority when they press, it could be a very long day for them. And coming off that midweek Champions League clash, it makes it even more difficult. And because Manchester City probably performed just a little bit better in the Premier League match between these two sides, Liverpool will be out to then make a statement. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the analysis, and I'll see you in the next one.